What's going on YouTube? So late last year, we got to hop in and drive this redesigned Hyundai Kona. And we were very impressed by the technology and the style. And now we have the chance to live with it for a full week and see what it's like on the day-to-day. So, does this Hyundai Kona with a light bar raise the bar for the segment? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Now, like always, let's start things off under the hood. So, for the 2024 Kona, you do have a couple different engine choices. This limited model is going to come with the more powerful 1.6-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, which makes 190 horsepower. It is paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission, and our combined fuel economy comes in at 26 miles per gallon.
Now, of course, later on in this review, we will be taking it out for a spin, and during that test drive, we'll be getting things like our sound level reading, so we can see how quiet this is compared to some of the rivals. Additionally, after that, we're going to be discussing the pricing, as well as a new element we're integrating into our reviews, predicted resale value and predicted reliability. So you'll definitely want to stay tuned for those discussions.
But of course, a big part of the Kona formula is the fact that it has unmistakable style on the outside, and it also has a very practical interior. So let's go ahead and get into those things. Now, if you remember the first generation of the Kona, that had a very bold look. And for the new generation, Hyundai stuck with that theme of making this look very unique. They actually do a fantastic job of making each crossover look very different from each other. And this doesn't look anything like the Tucson, for example, or the Santa Fe. You'll notice the face is going to be very rounded off here. And because this was designed also to be an electric model, there is an upcoming Kona electric, by the way, we have that kind of rounded off look. The front part here is going to have this look to it. You have this light bar that goes across the front, which gives it a distinct design as well. And then down in your lower fascia, this is where like the primary part of your grille is. There's going to be a few different designs for this. If you get the N-line, it's going to be all more aggressive. As far as ground clearance, I will mention, by the way, is 8.3 inches, which is quite good for this segment of vehicle. Now let's talk about the actual headlights themselves. Because this is the limited trim, we have the most premium arrangement. So separated from this light bar, down here we have the projector LEDs. We also have LED turn signal indicators down there as well. Now, as far as the back is concerned, one of the interesting things about this new Kona is the fact that it kind of looks the same in the back as it does in the front. They've managed to make this overall arrangement look very, very similar.
Yeah, and it has that bold, distinct look. And one of my favorite things, actually, is that this side window piece actually swoops in and goes into the spoiler. That's a really cool design element. I've certainly been enjoying that this week. Now, as far as some of the other design elements, we do have an exposed rear wiper right here. And then, of course, like Drew said, we do have that full-length taillight. Let's see if all the elements are LED for this taillight unit. So we do have an LED brake light portion, we have an incandescent reverse light, and an LED amber turn signal indicator. So we're going to have 2 out of 3 elements as LED. That's pretty good for a vehicle in this segment. It is worth noting, though, you have to go for the limited trim level to get the LED turn signal indicator. This light right here is actually not used for any braking functionality. This is just an accent light. Now down here, moving down, we have our Hyundai Kona branding. And then as this lower diffuser is concerned, we do have a silver piece for a lot of the more luxury-oriented versions. If you choose the N-line, you're actually going to get a sportier finish with dual exposed exhaust outlets. But here on the Limited, no exposed exhaust.
Now, when it comes to wheel options, again, very bold designs. They're going to range from 17 to 19-inch alloys. This Limited has 19s, of course. Very nice looking design on these. I like the contrast finish. They actually remind me very strongly of what Volvo uses on their Recharge models. That's a compliment. Now, we also have the thick cladding. So this is, one of the more distinct elements of the design is just how thick and meaty the cladding is all along the side and the back. If you don't like this look, though, you can get the N-line where it will be finished in body color. And then coming to our mirrors, finally, you do have standard blind spot monitoring and heating.
Now here at the side, other than the very bold design, I do want to talk about this vehicle's overall length. It comes in about 171 inches long, which pretty much places it equidistant between the smaller Hyundai Venue and the larger Hyundai Tucson. It's about 11 inches shorter than a Tucson, but it's worth noting that this Kona has grown a lot for this all-new model. It's grown about 5.7 inches this year. Now, as far as your safety systems are concerned, I do also want to talk about this. So you're going to have 3 out of 4 active safety features as standard equipment on every single Kona model. If you choose SEL Convenience and above, you will also gain adaptive cruise control, and additionally this limited trim level will get your smart parking assist function. But guys, there is a lot to discuss on the inside, and we lived with this vehicle for the past 7 days, so we have some tidbits to share. But first,
if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
All right, let's go ahead and get inside the cabin before this storm comes and gets us. Here's our key fob. This is the latest Hyundai key fob, so it's got that kind of round pebble-like look, and the buttons actually make a Hyundai logo. As far as cool features, you actually do have Smart Park. Believe it or not, on this model, integrated here on the side, you have remote start. You also have digital key if you get the SEL with convenience package or above. Now, getting inside, just reach behind the handle. That's going to unlock the door. And then take a look at the inside. When you're looking at this interior, you're probably going to forget that this is actually considered a subcompact crossover because it initially looks very spacious and actually quite luxurious. But let's go ahead and talk about the seating options and materials first of all. So in terms of what you're going to get, the base 2 trim levels will come with cloth seating. When you get to the limited trim level, that's where you're going to get the H-Tex leatherette. So this is a faux leather, but it feels quite realistic. It also has a really good stitching design, as you can see, with perforations going throughout. The inline will have a suede and leather combination seat, and as far as your adjustments, you do have an 8-way power adjusting seat with 2-way lumbar support on all but the base model. But let's go ahead and hop inside. Now let's go ahead and look around at the overall cabin materials. So starting out with our door trim, we have a leatherette padding that runs through here as well as through the center section. This is finished in the same gray as the seats are. You can also get black if you prefer. Top part of this will be hard touch. Going to the upper dashboard, this is a textured plastic. This is going to be hard touch as well. And then as we kind of move down, you're going to notice a good selection of different materials. Everything does fit together nicely and is solid. Now let's fire her up. Now let's start to dig into some of the individual details. One of the first things I want to mention is, of course, this new display setup. I think this really will grab your attention as soon as you get inside because these are very large, dual 12.3-inch displays. That's very premium and actually surprisingly better than what you currently at least get in the Tucson model. Now in terms of this display, fully reconfigurable like other models. It's got the latest and greatest graphics. It also has some cool features such as the blind spot camera system. So when you signal to the right or left, that will give you that live camera feed. Now, pulling back to the steering wheel, we have the latest Hyundai design. Actually doesn't even have the Hyundai logo on it. And one of the interesting things about the steering wheel is it's not exactly a circle. It's a little squared off here on these edges. The wheel itself will be manual tilt and telescoping. And surprisingly, we have steering wheel heating, which is a feature on the limited trim level. It has 2 stages and it gets very hot. Now, let's talk about our storage solution. So, Hyundai went with a very flexible arrangement here, so you can make of this what you will, more or less. So, first of all, when I open that up, you'll notice we have this kind of interesting center console arrangement where we don't really have a side. That's because what we can do is actually remove this in and out, and you can kind of use this as one giant storage area, or you can kind of close it off the best you can. Although, I will say, for our donut test, which, by the way, is something we like to do here at Car Confections since that is our emblem, it's hard to score this because it's not really contained. If you break real hard, your donuts might go flying. So I'm not really sure how to score this, but it does fit quite a few in here. Now this area here is also very versatile. As you can see, open space. If you press this button though, that will actually pop out your cup holders. And then the SEL convenience model or above will come with a wireless phone charging pad. Additionally, you have this large storage shelf in front of the passenger, so it gives them their own storage and just contributes to the overall really airy feel, because everything in this console is like dropped down. It just makes this cabin feel very, very spacious. All right, let's talk about the shifter though, because you notice it's not down there, it's up here on the column. This is the latest Hyundai design. We've seen this on a lot of different models at this point. Twist up to D for drive. You do have paddle shifters on the steering wheel if you want to use those. Down for reverse. When you go into reverse, this is something that really surprised me about this Kona Limited, is the fact that you have a 360-degree camera system. And this is not a dumbed-down version either. This is the best version that Hyundai offers. So it has cool features like this 3D view. We first saw this in Genesis products, and it's come all the way from the G90 Genesis to the Hyundai Kona. Just press the end of the stalk there for park. Now you do have an arrangement of buttons down here on or next to the wireless phone charging pad. The main things that I want to point out, of course, are your heated and ventilated seats. Now, several of the trim levels will come with the heated seats, but the Limited now for the new generation has ventilated seats. That's exceedingly rare to have that offered on any model in this segment. Now in terms of the actual climate controls themselves, we do have a dual zone automatic climate setup on your upper end versions. Physical controls, so it's very easy to make your various adjustments. You also have physical controls with this nice row of buttons for your audio system. So both the Limited and the N-Line come with an 8-speaker Bose sound system, and we'll go ahead and give that a sample now. Yeah, overall, this is a very nice sounding sound system. Fills up the cabin perfectly fine. Alright, so let's talk about the infotainment system. I already told you about the screen size. It is a 12.3-inch display, which is currently the largest in the subcompact crossover class. Furthermore, what's impressive about it is the fact that we have the latest and greatest Hyundai infotainment software. So one of the things you're seeing right now is the fact that we're running Android Auto, but I'm not plugged in. So this is a new thing where we now have the wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay across the entire lineup. Going into the actual Hyundai system itself, you've got the latest graphics. Everything in here is really, really responsive. I like all of that. We also have a built-in navigation system as well with this Limited trim. Now up top, you have an auto-dimming mirror. 3 HomeLink universal remotes are built in. We do have a sunroof on the Limited trim. Power sunshade, which is a pretty premium touch, and of course the sunroof itself does open up.
Now, many subcompacts struggle with the rear seat area, and I'm very happy to say with this all-new Kona, it really doesn't. This rear seat area is quite spacious, so just like the front of the cabin where it feels open and airy, I want to stress and emphasize that this rear area does not really feel like a subcompact. It feels more like a compact SUV. Now, as far as the space figures are concerned, they have been increased quite a bit, about 3 inches over the previous generation, 38 inches of legroom and headroom, so very impressive figures. That does make it larger than a Honda HR-V, the Toyota Corolla Cross. All of its main competition really is going to be one of the largest options. Now, here at Car Confections, we use our ruler to get the knee measurement. So I'm 5'9". This seat is adjusted to Drew, who's 5'8". So this simulates 2 adults, sitting behind each other, and we're sitting at 7.5 inches of additional knee space. That is very impressive, guys. My feet can also slide up underneath the seat, and overall, the seat itself is pretty comfortable. As far as reclining, it does recline a tiny bit, not a ton, but it's definitely enough to make sure you're pretty comfortable. Now, as far as features are concerned, here in the center we do have vents. This is going to be standard on your higher end models. We also have 2 charging USB ports, and these are the Type-C variety. Now, the things I want to point out is that the perforation, I really like this design touch. It's actually perforated all through the center seat, and even up here on this portion. I think that's a really neat design touch, and it looks a lot more premium than a lot of the options in the segment. We also have a fold-down armrest with 2 cup holders inside. As far as the door trim, of course it's hard touch on the upper part, but we do have a leatherette through the center section. We have a leatherette where our arm is going to rest. And then as far as the very bottom, we do have bottle storage. It will not fit all the rage right now in water bottles, Stanley water bottles. It won't fit that in the door trim. However, it does fit in the center console cup holder just fine. Now, walking up to the tailgate, you are going to find a pretty rare feature for this segment of vehicle. We have a power tailgate. That's if you go for the top-end limited model, but like I said, that's very rare for that to even be offered in this segment at all. Now, as far as the space is concerned, about 25.5 cubic feet behind the second row of seats. If we fold the second row down, we're going to be looking at a maximum of around 63 cubic feet. That really places it as one of the largest options in the segment. So just like the second row, it's one of the largest choices you can have now. So very impressive space figures, that is for certain. Now, we also do have seats that fold 60-40 split. There are not any handles back here, so I will have to go up there and do it manually. And now that we've got those seats folded down, let's go ahead and get our overall cargo length figure. Something we also like to do at Car Confections is get our tape measure out, measure from the back of the driver's seat to the rear of the cargo area. We're sitting at about 67 inches of overall length. And if you're looking to haul something behind the second row, it's going to be about 33 inches of overall length. And let's see how wide the cargo opening is. The cargo opening is going to settle in at around, very impressive, 40 inches wide. So pretty impressive overall in terms of the cargo dimensions. And we do also have a spare tire integrated underneath of the cargo floor. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the all-new Hyundai Kona for our extensive 7-day impressions. Of course, we're going to be talking about quite a few different things, as you can see on the screen right now, including getting that sound level reading on our home state of Kentucky's roads. So I'm definitely excited to get you the official sound level reading. But first, we're going to go ahead and start with the hard acceleration.
Nice. So there's our first acceleration with the Kona Limited. And if you remember at the spec dump, one of the things that we were pointing out was the fact that there are 2 different engine choices, and when you choose the Limited or the inline as well, that's going to get you the more powerful option. It's a 1.6 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine with 190 horsepower, 195 pound-feet of torque.
That's...
And yeah,
I mean, it's quick.
That's plenty of power.
I mean, when we accelerate there, I think one of the things about this segment of vehicle is that most of them are slow or excruciatingly slow. There's 2 options. And this, I think, I'm very happy to say, is neither of those. I really like the torque. I think the 195 pound-feet of torque really pushes you back in your seat. There's almost a little bit of, I guess, lag in the turbo when it kicks in. But once you start moving, like in the first 10 miles per hour, you really just get pushed back in your seat from all that torque kicking in.
Yeah, for sure. And that's one of the things to keep in mind about this model is the fact that that's kind of a class above in terms of the engine performance. Nearly 200 horsepower is certainly something that you see in a compact crossover more likely.
Now, of course, performance-wise, this motor is actually pretty darn impressive, but I do want to talk about what you get on your more affordable Kona models, the SE and SEL trims. Those are going to come with a 2-liter non-turbocharged 4-cylinder, so it's a naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. 147 horsepower, 132 pound-feet of torque. So for that setup, that's going to be more in line with most of the other things that you get in the segment. So if you choose the more affordable models, you'll have definitely a lot slower of a overall powertrain experience, but it's going to be still competitive with the vast majority of rivals.
Now, as far as the other element of the powertrain, this is another big change from the 2023 model. That's the fact that we have an 8-speed automatic transmission. This is a move from a dual clutch transmission, a 7-speed dual clutch in the previous generation, now to an 8-speed traditional automatic. With that kind of comes basically a more traditional experience. It is going to be smoother in terms of everyday operation. I think this is a very good transmission. It is fuel economy minded, but when you put your foot down, you are able to get that power you need pretty quickly.
Right, and I also do want to point out, of course, this is the more traditional and more premium powertrain experience. If you choose the 2 lower trim levels, you will instead have a CVT, so that's something to keep in mind. The more traditional powertrain experience will be on your inline and limited models with the 8-speed automatic. Now, of course, you do also have the option between front-wheel drive or available all-wheel drive. But now that we're just kind of cruising along here on the highway, I do want to talk about your ride quality. As far as this is concerned, we've been nothing but impressed with this Kona over the past 7 days. I mean, typically vehicles in this segment, you know that you're in a vehicle in this segment when it comes to the ride quality, because they've cheaped out on some of those elements. And I feel like with this Kona, it really does kind of ooze the segment above. We've already said that with the powertrain, but I think it also translates to a better than average ride quality. When you hit a bump, it does a great job of soaking it up. I've also found these seats to be very, very comfortable over the past 7 days. Now, it's not like pouring rain, so I would like to go ahead and speed up to 55 miles an hour to give you guys the best sound sample we can with the rain going on. Switch on me in the last second. 56.9 decibels is going to be our official Car Confections sound level reading. It looks like we got it just in the nick of time. It's starting to really downpour. So I was very excited to give you guys the official Kentucky sound level reading. But of course, Kentucky had a little bit of different weather plans, so we have a little bit of rain ruining our official measurements. But
back to unofficial again.
Yeah, back to unofficially
official.
If we have the chance later on this week, we might bring our sound level reading and, get it going 55 miles per hour. But that's a good reference point. And 56.9 decibels is a very good sound level reading, but I don't have to sit here and guess because I can go to carconfections.com/sound level readings. And for those of you who want to know the quietest options in the segment, you can find that. And you can also see all of the sound level readings that we've ever done on our channel, which promise you that is a lot of cars. And indeed, that does mean that this is one of the quietest options. It's in the top 5 quietest subcompact SUVs out there. So very impressive to get that type of sound level reading, especially when we're talking about here on a little bit of a rainy day where additional noise is penetrating into the cabin. I also want to take a second here to talk about the fuel economy. So we mentioned that at the spec dump, this particular model obviously is not the best fuel economy that you can get in the Kona range. We have the limited all-wheel drive, which means we're going to be sitting at 24, 29, 26 combined. So that's pretty okay fuel economy. It's definitely not going to be a class leader in terms of the fuel economy department, but do keep in mind if you choose the more base trim levels and front wheel drive, you can get up to 31 mpg. But I'm sure you guys are curious as to what our real world fuel economy is over the past 7 days that we've been driving this vehicle around. And as far as that is concerned, we are sitting at 26.1 miles per gallon. So that is literally exactly the same as what the EPA says in mixed driving. We have been doing mixed driving in this Kona, so happy to see that we're going to have exactly the same fuel economy as what the EPA is saying with this model. And let's discuss our airball and slam dunk, which is our favorite and least favorite element. Drew, do you want to kick us off with the slam dunk for this new Kona?
The slam dunk, quite simply, is just going to be the class above feel. We've mentioned it numerous times throughout the review and the test drive specifically. There's just a lot of elements that really feel a class above. And in a lot of ways, it kind of is almost the same size as the previous generation Tucson, you know. So it's just one of those vehicles. Even though it is in the subcompact, it does have a very premium feature set and overall feel.
As on the airball side of things, I guess this kind of goes with that. We will say that the price on this limited model is starting to encroach on Tucson territory. That's something to keep in mind here. We're sitting around a little under 35 grand for this particular tester today. So certainly you can get a Tucson for 35 grand, but you are going to get more features here with this Kona at this price point. And lastly, I want to mention your warranty. The signature Hyundai warranty applies here. Hopefully you can hear me. It is a 5-year, 60,000 mile basic warranty, 10-year, 100,000 mile powertrain warranty. Hyundai is also including 3 years of complimentary maintenance.
And now let's go ahead and discuss pricing. So for the 2024 Kona, we're going to start around $24,100 for the base model with front-wheel drive. As you move up the trim structure, of course, there is, more expensive versions. The Limited starts at $31,650. Do keep in mind, all-wheel drive is a little bit additional. So as far as this model, we have the Limited all-wheel drive, $33,150 plus optional carpeted floor mats, $1,335 destination. We're sitting at $34,695 fully loaded up today. And if you're looking to buy a Hyundai Kona or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, why you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price on your new vehicle. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description.
Now it's time for us to talk about potential resale value and reliability to make sure you are making a smart purchase. Now, first up, we're going to talk about resale value. As an economics graduate myself, Drew and I took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this Kona's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years, this vehicle will be worth around 55% of its original value, or around $18,700, and after 10 years, it'll be worth 19% of its original value, which is around $6,000.
We've also done the same for potential reliability by making the Combined Reliability Index, or CRI, which is based on a combination of trusted automotive sources for reliability. Based on this ranking, Hyundai is rated average in relation to all other vehicle makes.
If you'd like to check out all of our data about reliability and resale values, as well as learn about our methodology, make sure to head to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a car is a big decision, and this is a great place to go, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands.
And guys, that's going to be where we leave off on our in-depth review of the all-new 2024 Hyundai Kona. Now, if you enjoyed this 7-day review where we were able to give you some specific insights about this all-new model, we would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, not only do you help us to get more vehicles like this that we can test out for a full 7 days, you also help provide us with more experiences that we can sample some of the latest cars on the market. So please subscribe if you haven't already. And if you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.